For a deeper look at this, we're joined by Gabriel Debenedetti. He's a national political reporter at Politico. Gabe, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
As we mentioned earlier in the week, President Trump said that the Attorney General was weak on leaks. So what do you make of this press conference? What was the intended audience here? Was the president the audience here, or was it a serious campaign to get back on leaks?
Well, obviously, the Attorney General is quite serious about this new campaign that he's launching against these leaks, but there's also no doubt that this really was for an audience of one, and that's the president. As you said, that there have been lots of reports about strains between the two sides, so it's clear here that Attorney General Sessions is going out of his way to say, listen, Mr. President, I'm hearing you. I promise we're on the same side here. Now pay attention as I go after these leaks.
There are also two different kinds of leaks that we seem to be talking about, and the ones that the president seems focused on are the ones that are more about the White House intrigue going on versus classified information. Doesn't that difference have to be looked at when Sessions is considering these leakers?
Yeah, absolutely. And we haven't gotten a lot of clarity yet into what the various kinds of leaks are that they'll be looking at. This was more of a broad, there are leaks and we're going to look at it, which is a message that the president will take pretty happily. But as you say, there are a number of different leaks here, and some of them have been fairly embarrassing to the president. What's not clear is how actually damaging they've been to national security.
Right. Big change at the White House this week. New chief of staff. Are things changing already?
Well, there have been changes in some staff, and John Kelly, the new chief of staff, does appear to be cracking down a little bit on what access some folks in the White House have to the president. That is the most immediate change that a lot of people in the West Wing have noticed, that folks are not really able to just walk in and get the president's ear. But it'll take a little bit longer before we see if there are any real long-term changes here. In the short run, yeah, there are some different people in different positions, but as we've seen in this White House over the last 8 months, that tends to happen fairly frequently.
A lot of generals with authority, and also H.R. McMaster is one of them. His national security advisor got a vote of confidence, but it seemed to come a little bit out of nowhere. I think he said, General McMaster and I are working very well together, that from the president. Why was this necessary for the president to do?
This has been something that has been not really litigated in the mainstream, but in some conservative wings of the media and in some places where the president has real support, McMaster has been under fire. There have been reports that he's been clashing behind the scenes with some presidential advisors, such as Steve Bannon, who has supporters in a more nationalist wing of the president's backing.
So a faction of the conservatives right now at this point.
That's exactly right. And a faction of these conservatives have accused McMaster of not really trying to work for the president's agenda. So this was an attempt by the president to say, listen, McMaster's got my back, I've got his, let's focus on some other things here.
The Congress is off on its August break, as has been widely reported. They failed to repeal and replace Obamacare. They're talking about moving on now. Is Obamacare, a replacement for Obamacare, essentially dead at this point?
What a lot of people who are on Capitol Hill have done recently is quoted the TV show Game of Thrones to me. They say, what is dead may never die. They're basically saying, listen, it looks like the Obamacare repeal effort is done for now, but we can never really count it out. This is clearly a top priority to a lot of Republicans, so it's not necessarily going anywhere yet.
I don't know if when you're quoting Game of Thrones, it's always a good thing.
That's right.
Gabe Debenedetti, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.